The 2023 budget for both the Office of the Vice President and the Education Department have hurdled the Senate. That, despite some senators voicing concerns over the millions of pesos in confidential funds allocated for both offices. Camille Samonte with the story.
The Office of the Vice President as well as the Department of Education hurdled budget debates in the Senate. The Senate has approved the proposed 2023 budget of DepEd amounting to over 667 billion pesos, while the OVP's proposed budget is at 2.3 billion pesos. Both the budget of the OVP and DepEd for next year include an appropriation for confidential funds worth 500 million pesos and 150 million pesos respectively. But the minority bloc said it will fight for the deletion and realignment of the said confidential funds. In the plenary debate, Senator Rizzo Hontiveros insisted that the money should be used for more pressing concerns in the education sector.
I hope that our colleagues in the Senate will share the view that there are no extraordinarily compelling reasons to provide a confidential fund to the education agency.
Senate Minority Leader Koko Pimentel meanwhile said Congress should instead rechannel the funds for more important programs and allow agencies to perform their mandate.
I will still maintain, Mr. Chairman, that tayo naman gumawa ng mga definition ng confidential fund. Tayo rin gumawa ng definition ng confidential expenses. Per our own definition, per Congress's own definition of confidential funds, the Office of the Vice President is not entitled or should not be given confidential funds. That is my position.
Pimentel also noted that VP Sara Duterte's requested budget is more than thrice than the 2022 budget of her predecessor, former Vice President Leni Robredo. The Senate Committee on Finance, however, retained both amounts for the offices headed by the Vice President, despite Duterte's earlier pronouncement that she's leaving to Congress a decision on the final allocation. For News 5, Camille Samonte, We Are One News.
How does the Senate minority plan to delete these confidential funds now that budgets for both the OVP and DepEd have been approved by the upper house? Let's get the answers from Senator Koko Pimentel, who is joining us over the line. Good evening, Senator Koko Pimentel. Welcome to The Big Story.
Magandang gabi po, Gretchen, Robbie, and to all of your viewers and listeners.
Your thoughts on the approval of the confidential funds, and is there anything that the opposition can do now to be able to look into these, possibly block them, or still be able to create some opposition towards the implementation?
Yes, if you note the words used by the majority leader when terminating the interpellation for the different agencies, what we use is that the budget is now endorsed to the plenary. Hindi pa siya approved actually because we are in the period of interpellations. And then we will now, after everything is closed, then we will go to the period of amendments. Yun na po yun. After the period of amendments, yun na po yung we can say that the budget is being approved. So, it's not yet too late. Yung aming mga manifestations that we intend to amend, we will do that in the period of amendments.
Okay, in the meantime, Senator, it will be, of course, an uphill climb. Napakakaunti ng opposition sa Senado. But kanina sinabi nyo, Kongreso ang nag-define ng confidential funds, and therefore, based on that, you said there is basis, based on that definition, na the OVP is not entitled to these funds as you yourself, as Congress itself defined. Can you get us into that a little bit deeper? What exactly in Congress's definition of confidential funds can you invoke?
We have defined confidential fund to be a fund for surveillance activities which the agency needs to do pursuant to its mandate or operations. When we talk about the Office of the Vice President, what is the mandate of the Vice President? Nahanap po yan sa Constitution. Ang sabi ng Constitution, ang mandato o trabaho ng Vice President ay maghanda na maging presidente at any time. Yan lang po yun. That is the mandate. Actually, wala na ng ibang trabaho yan kasi pwedeng yan bigyan ng trabaho, pero ang gagamitin ng Vice President kung binigyan siya ng trabaho ng Presidente, will be the budget of the department kung saan siya na-appoint.
Okay.
So yun po yun. So with that reasoning, I'm convinced that the office of the Vice President is not entitled or cannot be given confidential funds.
Okay, but to that point, Senator, you did mention kung binigyan ng trabaho yung Vice President. In this case, the Vice President is in fact concurrently also the Secretary of Education. That has also asked and that has also has an approved or at least an endorsed budget, confidential funds as well for the
Correct.
Department of Education. On that particular hat, do you have any opposition to that with regards to the confidential funds sought and approved for the Secretary of Education?
Of Education naman. Because what is now the mandate o trabaho ng Department of Education? Ano sagot dyan? Sa pangalan, makikita na natin, ipaaral, turuan ang ating mga kabataan, i-maintain ang ating mga eskwelahan. Yan ang mandato ng Department of Education. So, bakit kakailanganin ng Department of Education ng confidence fund para sa surveillance activities to support its mandate or operations? Kung yung mga surveillance activities, ibigay na natin yung sa kapulisan, sa NBI, sa PIDEA, kung ano pa man yung mga law enforcement agencies natin.
Senator
So, hindi pa rin po justified. Lalo na kung marinig natin yung budget wish list ng Department of Education. Ang dami pa nilang kailangan bigyan ng pondo. Lampas-lampas pa po sa 150 million pesos. And then, nag-set aside pa tayo ng 150 million pesos pang confidential. Hindi naman priority yun. At saka hindi nga talaga common sense na expenditure yon ng isang Department of Education na bigyan ka ng pera para surveillance.
Okay, Senator, assuming that the confidential funds get through the Senate, approved by the President, what safeguards can we place, or are there any measures that you can file to look into these confidential funds, may it be for the Office of the Vice President or other agencies in general, just moving forward to be able to make sure that our money is used for the right purposes and the right reasons?
Number one, we will appeal to COA to siguro observe a heightened review of the confidential and intelligence funds. Although, kaya nga ginawang confidential and intelligence funds yan, para nga yung auditing ng COA ay mas relax, hindi ganun ka-heightened. So, manawagan siguro tayo na yung review nila, gawin nilang heightened review. And then, of course, mag-appeal na lang tayo sa mga taong merong confidential funds to use the funds wisely.
Okay, maraming salamat po. Senator Koko Pimentel.